contaminated.
Face. Horrible. Look like it would scare you to death.
All right, let's get to work.
Discord, on your phone.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised, but the forward-facing camera is usually not near as good as
Oh, yeah.
as these.
Yeah.
As these GoPros.
Yeah, this is a 4K. It's 60 FPS, and it's
Yeah.
going through a cell phone. Well, no. The video processing. Well, I don't know. I guess it dumbs it down. I don't know. Anywhoots, welcome everybody. Welcome to
Hello.
season 2, episode 8. Yes, episode 8.
Yes.
If you haven't noticed by now, we have a little bit of a format difference. Been dealing with internet issues at my end.
Yes, we were not able to broadcast Sunday night
Yeah.
On Twitch, but here we are anyway.
Yeah, by the majesty of my freaking hotspot, I'm hoping this thing holds. I guess I should. No, I don't want to fuck with it. I don't want to mess with it. I'm just gonna leave it be. I was gonna plug it in, but I'm just gonna leave it be. We're running. Our Discord connection is running on my hotspot, and it seems to be holding pretty well. So, we're gonna leave it there. Geez, yeah, really just flabbergasted that the internet still is. It's gone in and out twice now, so we're just going to stick with the hotspot for tonight and deal with this, and we will upload later. So I'm sorry for those that watch on a regular basis on Twitch. Sorry, y'all. We just internet issues. That's the way it goes sometimes. So, geez, I can't even do the freaking song, the shirt song. Oh man. Geez, yeah,
if I knew how long it was, we could fake it and put it in later.
I might be able to patch it in if you're willing to wait a few minutes.
Nah, it's all right. We can skip it this time.
What shirt are you wearing today?
Yeah.
So yeah. See, the whole thing gets messed up because the internet's out. So what shirt do you got? Oh, it's yours. It's one of yours.
Mine. Wearing one of mine.
Oh, okay. So now the power.
Yeah. So on
the power symbol
so
makes sense now. I get
yeah.
it.
So on the fronts, it's the on symbol, like my like the way my logo is for me. The O is always an on symbol in Aeon.
Yeah.
And so I made the shirts up like this on the front, and then on the back, it has the full.
Let's see it.
I'll show you.
Pray tell.
I'll show you.
Yeah, let's see
show
it.
you because I'm super proud of these.
It looks good.
All right.
Oh.
Turn around.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's awesome.
Got the name logo and the full print on the back. Because to me, I mean, the merch is cool, but I'm not super. I'm known locally, but I'm not famous by any stretch.
Right.
So, someone seeing this is going to be like, so what is that?
Yeah.
Right. They know the on symbol, but you don't know the painting. So
right. I do the painting.
I thought if you're buying, yeah, I mean, people who are real close to the, to the project know, but like, someone just going to buy it, I kind of thought they ought to have the whole print. So I did the print on the back. Made the t-shirts unfortunately expensive.
Oh, yeah, shirts are not cheap, man.
Expensive. Yeah, I make I sell them for like $30 because I feel like no one wants to pay more than $30 for a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I make like $10. So
yeah,
it's better than nothing. And people ask me about the shirts, and I'd rather them be out there so that people ask the people wearing them about the shirt. Whoa, what is that?
Yeah,
that's the point. But
it's dope.
Yeah, I do the hoodie. The hoodie, it's weird. The hoodies, are a better deal for me. I kind of like the hoodies more, but you can't wear a hoodie just like. Well, you and me wear hoodies all the time.
Yeah.
But most people don't just wear hoodies for every occasion.
Yeah.
So yeah. Actually, I think I have. Yeah.
Oh, the hoodie. Look, there it is.
I've been using it as a backrest. These are super dope.
Oh man,
these are super cool. Yeah. And then on the back,
man,
name logo across the top.
Yeah.
They're cool. These I like.
I never got mine before I left. Makes me sad.
Well, I have to get you one.
Yeah.
I made these honestly for me, because I just thought they were so cool. Once I realized you could do that, the sublimation printing, I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
I'll wear my own stuff. I'm shameless.
No shame. Yeah.
Well, what shirt are you wearing?
Oh,
What do you got?
You ready?
Yeah. Oh, nice. Nice. I like that. That's good. That's good. Where'd that come from?
Walmart.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's a good one.
Went to a different town to get some groceries from Sam's Club because the closest Sam's Club's like an hour away. And
Oh, yeah.
we're bulk buying now. And I saw it. I was like, yep, this one, this one, this one. And of course, the other two I bought. One was the Sonic and then the other one was the Kirby. And you wore those back to back. So those went to the bottom of the pile to get rotated in for next time. Also, wearing my coveted early 2000 Hot Topic Invader Zim sweatband.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice. Yeah.
So I Googled it.
Does Hot Topic even still exist?
Yeah, it's still there. It's nowhere. It's nothing like it used to be. Funny thing is, though, every time I find something that I used to wear 20 years ago, I Google it just to see if it's increased in value.
Uh-huh.
And my G-word assistant's like, oh, I used the G-word. Sorry. I G-worded it to see. I was like, cool, the sweatband. I'll wear it because I'm doing the shirt tonight. And there is none on the internet at all of this sweatband.
Really?
I found one picture of it. Somebody on Reddit trying to find one from like 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I was like, so is this valuable? my sweet preciousness? Yeah. So yeah, like 20 years ago, it was, everybody had them 20 years ago, but now they're rarity.
Sweatbands were super popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were popular. I had one that was I had a couple skateboard company ones.
Everybody.
Because everybody was wearing them when you skated. So yeah, I had a couple. I think I had one from I can't remember the name of the company, but they always had super simple. It was Enjoy.
Yeah,
Enjoy boards. They came out with a board that was called the Dingleberry, and it was just like a brown starfish with like a hair and a little brown, like, it was all like flat vector stuff, and it little Dingleberry. So I had a Dingleberry band.
This is one of the nice things about living here is there is a prominent skate scene. So in the same town an hour away where the Sam's Club is, there's a mall, surprisingly enough, a mall that's still thriving. And and there's this chain of skate shops called Zoomies.
Oh, that's a good name.
And they sell nothing, exclusively skate gear. And I've got a sweet jacket. You would love it. It's one of the newer skate brands called Killer Acid. And just incredible artwork. And I got this sweet bomber jacket with this giant embroidered patch on the back of like a melting skull. And like he's looking up and like a hit of acid's dropping in his mouth.
That's cool. I like that.
Black with, so the jacket is black with like gray spider webs and neon green accents. And, oh man, awesome jacket. It was like it was like a $300 jacket. I got it for like $70, $80. I was like,
oh, nice.
So every chance I get, I try to wear it. But I have one of my hoodies from middle school, independent truck company hoodie from from the late 90s, still intact. It's got a few holes in it. It's old, but I Googled it just like, oh, geez, I used the word again. No, stop.
Was that an independent boards?
Independent truck company.
It wasn't by the board, the skateboard independent?
Yeah, they started off just making trucks.
Oh, okay.
The trucks on the skateboard, the thing that holds the wheels. They started off just making trucks. So I looked it up, and the hoodie is worth like $500 now.
Wow.
But it's my baby. I've had it for over 20 years.
Yeah, so... I mean, you can't get rid of it. That's funny. I'm always surprised at the stuff that people want that we had.
Yeah.
Like they want now. I'm like,
I paid like $15 for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say they were like $15 for hoodies back then, $10 for t-shirts. Like,
And it was
yeah,
name brand too. It was,
yeah,
independent was huge back when we were
yeah,
much younger, but
but
now
none
it's
of us had any money, so they knew that if they put out a $40 hoodie, no one would buy it.
yeah.
They didn't have any money. Also, stuff was, I hate to, God, it sound old. Stuff was cheaper then.
Yeah. Didn't
All
our
the
parents
stuff I
complain
never
about
thought
this?
I would say. Oh my God, all the stuff I never thought I would say. Now I'm definitely old. Oh well.
It reminds me
Yeah.
of
Yeah. It was cheaper then. When I was a kid, stuff was cheaper.
what was that song? I know the name of it. I forget who the producer was. Baz Luhrmann. He made this song in, oh geez. Let me find out when this came out. You know what? I got a microphone. Let's use it. When did Everyone is Free to Wear Sunscreen come out? $1999. It was produced in 97, but it was released in 99. It was a song by Laz Berman called Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen. And it's just a beat. And the producer, Laz Berman, just reading, like it starts out to, let me find the lyrics. Yeah, you're going to be like, oh, this is crazy. It starts out, it says, ladies and gentlemen of the class of 99. If I could offer you one tip for the future, sunscreen would be it. A long-term benefits of sunscreen have been proved by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more reliable than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice to you now.
Yeah, I've heard that one.
And then it's just him talking.
Yeah.
But there's like tons of like, I say old people advice, but it's stuff that we heard growing up that makes me think, oh, geez. I hear that stuff growing up, and now I'm dispensing that.
Now I'm saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, I was always like, whatever, you don't know. And now I'm saying all this.
Phenomenal song. Yeah. Like, oh, geez, man. This song actually gets me emotional when I listen to it.
So, not to get us, not to cut the flow, but we completely forgot the intro.
The intro. Yeah. Hello. Welcome. My name is Victus.
I'm Aeon.
and we are your intrepid paranormal investigators. It's a crazy night tonight. Tell us why Paul isn't here.
Yes. And on top of internet problems, Paul is in the rest of the office, but he has a trial, a full-on trial, tomorrow starting at 8. And he is still finishing getting his exhibits together, which he's been working on this thing all weekend. And it's the law firm. But our podcast doesn't make any money.
Yeah.
The law firm does. So he said if he can get it done, he'll jump in for some opinions. But nothing we can do about it.
It bums me out because he wore that shirt last week because he thought we were.
Yeah, he did.
We were talking about what we're talking about this week.
Yes.
We need to.
But this is still Beyond the Shadows, and we are still here.
Yeah.
To have an adventure into the unknown. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
So we are talking about the Amityville Horror House tonight.
Ooh.
Yes. So it's going to be
very famous.
It's going to be bare bones tonight. I can't pull up any video or pictures. I had a great video too, and when we get to that point where I was going to show you the video, I will tell you about it. Maybe we'll watch it next week, just to fill a little void. But I'll tell you what I can about it. But I mean, everybody knows about the Amityville Horror. I mean,
it's covered by several movies. Geez, so many movies.
Oh my gosh!
And didn't the whatever franchise didn't they do a version of the actors from that have been playing those two paranormal?
Yeah.
Didn't they do one with Ed and Lorraine?
Ed and Lorraine Warren? Yeah.
Yeah, Ed and Lorraine. Didn't they do it with those two actors?
I'm not sure if they were part of.
Because I thought dude that played Ed was in one of the new Amityville.
So
one of the many remakes.
The last one that I saw was the one with Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
It was. I remember watching it when we lived together. So
okay, well that's kind of a stretch to have a
yeah,
have Ryan Reynolds. Was he played the dad?
Yes.
Wow, that's a stretch. Have you seen the guy?
Yeah, one of
that's a stretch.
One of many. So the original movie came out in 1979, and then a sequel came out in 82, and then a remake in 3D came out in 83, and then
in 3D in 83.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
And then there was Amityville 4 in 89, the Amityville Curse in 1990, Amityville It's About Time in 92.
I've not heard of any of these.
I haven't either. Amityville A New Generation in 93, Amityville Dollhouse in 96, the Amityville Horror in 2005.
Now we're getting into ones that I've seen.
Yeah. The Amityville Haunting in 2011.
Okay.
The Amityville.
Is that the one that you saw?
I think the one I saw was in 05. Wait, I got to look it up.
Okay.
We still got a couple more to go. The Amityville Asylum in 2013, the Amityville Death House in 2015, the Amityville Playhouse in 2015, the Amityville No Escape 2016, Amityville Exorcism 2017, and the Amityville Awakening in 2017. Jeez.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
All these
Holy crap. Okay, so
they bled
so
this
highly.
They bled this to death.
Yeah, I was gonna say so highly Hollywoodized.
I think, yeah, 2005 was the one with Ryan Reynolds. This was.
So I think the 2017 is the one that I'm thinking of.
Which one?
But I'm not sure. Awakening.
Yeah, that was the most recent one.
I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of, but I could be wrong.
And and all of these cover the same family. There was two families. I didn't know this. There was two families.
Okay, I thought there was one.
No, there was two. But then there's also stuff with Indian burial grounds, Native American burial grounds. It's wild. Yeah.
People just love building subdivisions on Native American burial grounds.
Yeah, this was the first movie that did the
blankets weren't enough, so we just gotta keep it up.
Yeah, we didn't give them diseases for nothing.
Yeah.
This was the first movie that kind of, I don't want to use the word romanticized, but horror romanticized the idea of building a house on top of a Native American burial ground. This was the first one to do it,
right?
That I can recall.
Okay. Okay.
But they really played it up in the 05, the Ryan Reynolds movie. They really played it up, the Native American burial stuff. Wait, wasn't Pet Sematary in a Native American? No, that was just the Pet Cemetery.
It's just because they buried a lot of pets there, but anything you buried there would come back to life.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Geez. So
love of pets is strong.
Tell me about
love
it.
Love of pets is strong.
Yeah. Especially after finding my new pet in the yard this last week.
Oh, yes.
Wild.
Yes.
Still just blows me away.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I talk to him. I say, I take the dog out in the morning and I say, "Hey, Sam. How you doing, Sam?"
That's cute.
Try to be friendly to him. He's here. He was here before us, so this was his home before it was ours. So, we're just going to get into the history of it, and we're going to talk about two families that live there and some of the things that I brought up, or that I came up with during my research. Golly, I really, really wish I was able to find this, or I really wish I was able to work around to be able to play this video, because it's good, man. It's good.
The video is?
Mm-hmm.
Is it from the original happening?
You ready for this?
Yeah.
It is the only known existence recorded interview with Ed and Lorraine Warren talking about the Amityville Horror.
Oh, really? Okay.
Like, I found the original
Okay.
video. It was a VHS rip
Oh, dang. Okay.
from BBC. So, ironically
Of
enough, the
course.
TV show was an American show, but it was on
Hmm.
BBC.
Okay. Makes
I mean,
sense.
it's old enough we could probably
Yes.
get away copyright wise with playing the entire thing, but it's like a 45-minute long video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. But I do have a couple
Yeah.
clips that I
Yeah.
downloaded from Instagram. Um, so, uh, without further ado, let's get into the Amityville Horror House.
Let's hear it.
So the horror house is located at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York, and it is one of the most infamous haunted houses in American history. Its legend stems from two tragic, terrifying events: the gruesome DeFeo family murders in 1974 and the alleged paranormal experiences of the Lutz family in 1975. The story of this house has become a cultural phenomenon, spawning books, endless movies, and debates about the nature of supernatural. So, this wasn't explicitly mentioned in the research, but I did find some stuff that mentioned Native American burial grounds. Supposedly, the house is on Native American burial grounds. That's why.
See, I
Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say I thought that that was a conjecture they made because they found some shards of pottery in the backyard.
Oh, I was.
But I didn't know if they actually found bodies
I don't know that
or
they found
bones.
bodies, but
Okay.
the research I found said that they found things in the basement.
Oh, in the dirt
Yes, because this
in
house.
the basement.
Yeah, this house was built. Oh, geez, I don't even know when the house was built. I don't have it in the research, but the house was old enough that the basement was dirt.
Okay.
So take that for what it's worth. If you've seen the 2005 movie, the Ryan Reynolds movie, um, you will know that the basement was like the triggering event for his character. And
So there's an
I think that's what it was. It was like this was the closest they could get to the actual burial ground was the basement. You know, you're digging down, you're 10, 12 foot deep.
right.
So,
So there's an interesting documentary that I watched for a while. I didn't actually finish it, but it's an interview and documentary with the child of the second family,
oh,
who's now an
yeah.
adult.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Who's now an adult. Yeah, and he's pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, he's out there.
Yeah,
He's a little messed up from the experience.
they said all of
And
the children.
his stepdad was sort of a jerk.
Yeah. They said all of the children were like, I think the daughter was so emotionally damaged she refuses to do interviews.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The young son. That's who this was with, and there were other family members like aunts and uncles, I think, or cousins. Maybe it was cousins. I think it must have been cousins because their age was similar to his.
Right.
But he talked about all of his therapy and all this stuff that he's done, and he's like, he's like, the problem is, he's like, I go into he was seeing a new therapist, and he's like, he cuts her off at the beginning. He's like, look, if what we're gonna do here is have me defend the fact that this stuff happened to me, and that whether or not what I experienced was real, he's like, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not here to debate whether it was in my mind or not. He's like, it's real to me, and I experienced it.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is that it wasn't from inside me because I wasn't the only one. So stop. If we're past that, we're decades past that. It happened. I need help with the PTSD of it.
Yeah.
We're not talking about whether or not I'm crazy. I'm not. My problem is dealing with the horror of what I experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Help me with that.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, well, I'm glad you brought that up. And then they start from there, and it's his therapy sessions and interviews with him. And I guess the guy makes custom hot rods too.
Oh,
apparently,
cool.
He had two really awesome tea buckets that were just
Ooh.
crazy. Yeah, like one of them was like done up almost like tea bucket, but done up military wagon style. Like it was cool. He made it all. It was cool. LS powered monstrosity. It was cool.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Stink face.
Yeah, no top. Yeah, no top. No top to put up, just open all the time. Cut windshield. Yeah, it was cool.
Brother.
Death machine. Yeah.
Is this
Stink face.
is this a
Yeah.
segue into Christine?
No, no, but that'd be funny. That'd be funny.
Is it all connected?
Was that a Bel Air?
Yeah,
Was
yeah,
that
yeah.
haunted Bel Air? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, another oft hot rod thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, unbuyable now.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna start with the DeFeo murders. The origins of the
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Never mind. Yeah, I was only remembering the second family who
Yeah.
experienced the haunting part. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
forgot
whole
all about this.
There's a whole murder part of it.
Yeah, I forgot all about this. Yeah, go ahead.
So the origins of the Amityville Horror began in November 13th in 1974 when 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr. took a .35 caliber Marlin rifle and systematically murdered his entire family. His parents, Ronald Sr. and Louise, and his 4 younger siblings, Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew, as they slept in their beds. The horrific crime shook the quiet suburban community and Ronald Jr., also known as Butch, initially claimed that he had heard voices urging him to commit the crime.
Kill yourself and others.
Yeah.
Kill yourself and others. Kill yourself and others.
Okay, so this is, it's funny you say that because the guy that built the house, his last name was Ketchum.
Okay.
He, apparently the lore says that he knew it was a Native American burial ground, but he said, I want this glamorous house and this is where it's going to be. And supposedly he was into black magic, all this other stuff, and necromancy, things like that. And so the lore goes that he knew about the Native American burial grounds, and that's part of the reason why he wanted to build there, so he could play with the dark entities that were there. So,
oh wow,
one of the little-known reported pieces of evidence about the subject is after the DeFeo murders happened, on the door to the basement, on the back side of the door. So if you're in the basement looking up the stairs at the door, on the back side of the door, he wrote the words in blood, "Catch 'em, kill 'em."
Oh, wow.
And they interviewed the guy later, and he said that he did not know any of the history of the house. He doesn't know where the phrase "catch 'em, kill 'em" came from. And it wasn't until 10 or 12 years later before they did the research and found that the original builder of the house's last name was Ketchum.
Wow.
So there's that.
Also, I guess I have a lot of questions of how he went around with a hunting rifle and managed to kill everybody in their beds with nobody waking up and running down the hallway.
Yeah, that was a big contested point in a lot of the research. How are you going to kill an entire family? So what, 4 kids?
4 kids and 2 parents.
Yeah.
In their beds with nobody getting up out of their bed.
Middle of the night. So we'll touch on that.
Okay. Okay, good.
So investigators found all 6 victims lying face down in their beds, shot in the back. There were no signs of a struggle, nor were there any immediate explanations as to why none of the neighbors heard the gunshots. The mystery surrounding the murders led to various theories, including the possibility of another shooter or some supernatural influence. DeFeo Jr. was arrested and later convicted of 6 counts of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 6 consecutive life terms in prison, where he remained until his death in 2021. However, the details of the case sparked numerous debates and alternative theories over the years. So personally, I feel like there is a supernatural factor to it. How else could you shoot somebody in a bedroom? So my house is nowhere near as old as their house, but it's still an old house. I can hear what my wife's doing in the next bedroom, and I know she can hear our conversation.
Mm-hmm.
How on earth is somebody going to go around with what was the gun again? 35 caliber Marlin rifle? Let me look that up. Let me see what it looks like.
Be the same size as you said, a 35?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be like a 35 with a long shell. 35 uh,
Ooh,
handgun, but with a long shell.
it's like a repeater.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's about what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. So either,
So that's like, so the Old West repeater was a 45 long shell. Like
yeah,
the classic like Springfield rifle was a 45 with a long shell. So that's slightly
yeah. Here you
down.
go. That's a better picture.
Yep. Yeah.
So a repeater, either way, 35 caliber. That's huge. So like, I could hear a 20 coming from
Big holes out the
miles down the road because there's lots of hunting in my area. I hear a 20 caliber rifle going off all the time. Lots and lots of hunting.
Mm-hmm.
35 close range in a house, middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
My
Yeah, you'd think you'd hear it.
Yeah, my theory is that the forces were so malevolent that they kept the family from not hearing and kept them in bed.
So he had like a shroud of darkness around him
Yeah,
almost.
yeah, like keeping them
In
there.
a way.
Yeah,
It makes me think of all the like D&D based RPG
Yeah,
stuff
but
that I play, right? Like Cloud of Darkness.
yeah,
And then no one can see you or hear anything you're doing, from inside the cloud.
inverted cross.
Yeah. Yeah, right? Yeah. That's what it
Yeah.
makes me think of.
Yeah,
Makes me think of stuff from Oblivion.
So it's like my train of thought is if there's a paranormal phenomena that could keep you from hearing something, like say there's 5 of us doing an investigation in a house. I'm in the second floor, you're on the second floor, but I'm 2 rooms down. Oh, I just heard beating on the wall and I've got it on film, but you didn't hear anything.
Right.
I've seen
Right.
I've seen enough paranormal investigations to know that noise doesn't necessarily travel when it comes to paranormal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So begs the question, is there something paranormal that's keeping the sound from traveling? And was that a factor here in this case?
It almost makes me wonder if it's not. I mean, in the case of the gun, I feel like it had to be something like that. But I think sometimes in the case of like knocking or footsteps or whatever,
Yeah.
I wonder if the paranormal influence is more like influencing your mind,
Yeah.
right? Like it's intended for the one
Yeah.
observer. And so it's not even a sound out here sometimes. It's something that you heard because it's communicating directly, especially
Right.
with some people who seem to be more sensitive to that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Have you ever met any sensitives, by the way?
I've met some people that have that
I never have. That's why I
I've
asked.
met, they were younger, so I was a little skeptical. Like 14, 15.
Mhm.
I was boom, transition. We're back. Yeah,
Hello.
it's not quite as glamorous when we don't have OBS running and I can do the stuff. So before I forgot to mention, we were talking about books earlier.
Hmm.
So do you remember back when we were living together how I was such a big fan of Malcolm Gladwell?
Hmm.
He's got a new book
Yeah.
out.
Okay.
So his first book was called The Tipping Point.
Yeah.
Talking about how when insert subject here reaches a certain tipping point, it creates a completely different outcome. Everything's normal up to a certain point, and then bam, everything changes, complete opposite of what you think. Phenomenal book. If you
Okay.
haven't read any of Malcolm Gladwell's, folks, go out and read any of his books. Phenomenal author, an absolutely astounding researcher. This guy is such one of the best researchers I've ever read. And so it's been 25 years since he released Tipping Point. His new book is called Beyond the Tipping Point, where he goes back and touches on some subjects from the original book, but new subjects and expounding on them. And absolutely phenomenal. I listened to the audiobook and then bought the physical copy for the wife, and she loves it because she's a information junkie just like I am. And awesome book. If you've got Spotify Premium, audiobooks are included, and this new book is on there. So listen, do yourself a favor, listen
Oh,
to
okay.
it. You would love it. Great book. Great book. I've read all of his books. So, anywho, it's where were we? Yeah, the gunshots.
Yes.
So, in the
The
2000
unheard gunshot.
in the 2005 movie, so when Ryan Reynolds' character was going around murdering his family, he was possessed by the father of the DeFeo family. Or no, he was possessed by the demon that possessed the father of the DeFeo family.
Okay.
Heavy air quotes. And he was recreating the event from 1974.
Oh, okay. So it was the dad
Yeah.
that killed his wife and the 4 kids.
Yeah. Well, he killed his parents, Ronald Sr., Louise.
Okay, so
And
it wasn't the
oh
so
yeah,
it wasn't the dad.
so
it was
so
the
he
kid.
killed his parents and his 4 younger siblings.
Okay, so Ryan Reynolds is possessed by the DeFeo kid.
No, he's possessed by the demon that possessed Ronald DeFeo Jr.
Okay, the kid.
Yeah, so it was 2 parents, 5 kids. One of
Gotcha.
the kids was possessed, killed everybody.
Okay, gotcha.
So in the movie, he was repossessed by the same demon, and he begins to recreate the events from 1974. But what he does in the movie, which kind of sort of answers this question, is he goes around, they're sleeping, he grabs an extra pillow, puts it over the back of their head, gun to the back of the head. But he ends up getting, in the movie, he gets, spoiler alert, you're 20 years late anyway.
If you haven't watched it now, you weren't gonna.
Yeah.
Too late now.
Spoiler alert. He gets stopped before he kills everybody. He does kill one person in the movie, but he gets stopped.
Gotcha.
And I'm going to say, Ryan Reynolds in a horror movie, he's got this like crazy look in his eye that I can picture to this day. Because he's
a good actor.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
He's underrated.
Yeah.
He's underrated
absolutely.
for serious content.
Yeah, Deadpool's great.
Because everybody knows him for his jokes.
Yeah. Deadpool's great, don't get me wrong, but you need to go and see this Amityville movie with him in it because it's so good. He does this thing where he'll okay, so we're used to what we see with Ryan Reynolds today. He's fit,
right?
Dude is racked, he's yoked up, he's
always wearing his Batman suit.
Yeah. We used to see in the muscly Ryan Reynolds. And back then he was like average Joe, like me. He was a little overweight. He was, he had a little, and I remember this scene, it just keeps playing over in my head where he was there with his son after they moved in and he was cutting wood for the wood stove. And he's like, hold that log and I'm going to split it. And he was like, last second. And then he would go to pick up the axe and he would, but when he would do it, it was like a slow motion thing and his face was a little overweight. So he would jiggle a little bit. And, dude had evil eyes. Yeah, dude pulled off the horror thing really well. I was very, very pleased with his performance in that movie. Great. But the story goes that he was possessed by the demon that possessed the DeFeo Jr. Ronald DeFeo Jr., the original murderer. So some of the theories and confessions goes that one of the most puzzling aspects of the DeFeo murders is the question of how 6 people were killed in their sleep without waking up or attempting to flee. Some experts speculate that a second shooter may have been involved, possibly a family member or an unknown accomplice. In later years, Ronald DeFeo Jr. changed his story multiple times, providing conflicting accounts of what happened that night. In one version, he claimed that his sister, Dawn, played a role in the killings, and that he only killed his parents. In another account, he stated that he had been manipulated by demonic forces. These inconsistencies have led some to believe that the full truth of DeFeo murders remain unknown. The crime scene also presented anomalies, such as the lack of sedatives in the victims' systems and the improbability that gunshots from a high-powered rifle went unheard by neighbors. These unresolved details... Say?
Well, to be fair, though, the lack of sedatives in their systems, I mean, yeah, per the, forensic lab work available at the time.
Yeah, in the 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were looking for like 4 things.
Yeah.
Where-
yeah. I mean, they could probably tell there wasn't barbiturates and stuff like that. But
Opioids,
even then, the lab testing wasn't super reliable anyway.
What's that fish that paralyzes people?
Oh, the pufferfish?
Yeah. Yeah.
That you eat as sushi if you're super daring?
Yeah. I've eaten it.
Have you?
Yep.
That's cool. I have not. I've never seen a place that had it.
There's a place here in town.
What?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'd
do that.
It's a really, really hip sushi place. If you'd ever come visit, I would take you there.
I like defying death.
I mean,
sounds fun.
Surely by then, by the time you get here, the menu would change a dozen times. But
well, I mean,
it's changed in the last 2 years we've been here.
So, has it?
Yeah.
Are they one of those sort of things? They have a rotating. Okay, gotcha.
And they're also one of those places that they open at 4, but they don't serve sushi until 5.
Okay. I guess if you're trying to be weird.
Yeah, we're grumpy.
Weird.
We're grumpy about it right now because the wife's birthday is on New Year's Eve. So not last year, but the year before, we went there for her birthday. It's the place that we like to go. It's a nice place. It's small, seats like 25 people max.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go for an anniversary, everything. So we went for her birthday year before last. It was great. We had a blast. We go for my birthday every year. We go for an anniversary every year. And this last New Year's, we went there for her birthday, and they're like, "Oh, it's a private event." Thanks for telling us. We sat outside and waited for like 45 minutes because we got there at 4. Like,
oh, right. You waited till they were going to actually be serving sushi.
Well, no, they didn't open the doors till 5. Or no, we got there. There later, and they didn't open till 6 or something. And so, like, we waited, and by the time they opened the doors, everybody's going in, and we get to the door, like, "What's your name?" And we told them the name. They're like, "Oh, it's a private event. Did you not pre-register?" Like, we didn't know. Like, we were dressed up and everything, embarrassing as hell. Still mad about it.
Dang, dude.
And like we've gone back once, and we went as soon as they opened. We got there, and we sit down, get our drinks, and we're chatting. And they're like, "What did you get your order?" And we're like, "Oh, I'll have this roll and this roll." They're like, "Oh, we don't serve sushi till 5." Well,
so we went one year. Speaking of nice places for birthdays,
yeah.
Last time I ever did this, we went to Ruth's Chris because they have one here.
Yeah.
For my birthday, and they were like, they asked Paul, like, is it a special occasion? He's like, yeah, it's my husband's birthday. I'm thinking like, oh, that's interesting that they asked. Maybe they'll do something cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't quite this, but it was like, we came and the special thing they did was there was birthday themed confetti on the table, like the shiny plastic stuff. Yeah, and in my mind I was like, I don't even know what movie this was, but somebody was like, I feel like there was a scene where somebody was like, no, it's supposed to be festive, and dude like grabs some shit and goes, like with some confetti or something. Happy birthday. That's what it felt like.
That's all you get.
Oh, so we go to a place called Atlas now. That's like a, you order all your courses ahead. And then they bring a thing and they wait for you to be done eating.
Yeah.
And the chef makes the next thing and they bring it. We go to, we went there last year because Ian, my buddy Ian, his birthday is the day after mine. So his wife and him and Paul and I all went together, and it was It was so much fun. I think we were there for like 4 hours eating.
Oh,
It was-
nice.
because because you eat something and then you hang out and
Yeah.
they make the next thing and you just kind of chill. And I didn't know it was quite that nice. And it was that was what I was hoping for, was
Yeah.
something nice, like, because we weren't in a hurry. It's birthday.
Yeah.
Birthday.
Yeah.
And yes, but like, yeah, we went to Ruth's Chris. I'm like, as much as it's the same kind of price, you're gonna spend like $200 or more a person.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of pricing. I was like, but you go to Ruth's Chris, and it's almost like it's the Applebee's of fine dining now. I was just like, what is the confetti? What is this?
So we ended up leaving. So we were dressed up and everything. Ironically, the way we were dressed kind of themed their closed event. But we ended up going to there's an Irish like pub restaurant in town too.
Uh-huh.
It's even smaller than the sushi place. Like, screw it, let's go to the pub because food's good. So we go and sit down. As soon as we get there, they hand us New Year's Eve favors. I was like, oh, we're not going to be here that late. They're like, oh no. Midnight in Ireland is 7:30 or no 8:30. So we're going to celebrate midnight at 8:30. I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Very clever.
Yes.
Very clever.
So we ended
That's
up
good.
we had a better time at the Irish pub than we did at our favorite sushi place, and it was a blast.
That's really good.
Yeah, we saved
That's really good.
our party favors from that place and everything. It was great.
That's really good. I like that.
Good times, man. So that's probably going to be our thing every year. New Year's Eve go, and it was nice. It was cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So let's see, where were we? So yeah, the DeFeo murders. These are the ones that were the infamous ones, the ones that triggered the events.
To come.
Yes, there were lots of rumors about the original Ketchum guy, the guy that built the house, how he was doing like mutilations, sacrifices, all sorts of weird stuff.
Animal or people?
People, in the basement.
Where do these rumors stem from?
So
Did they catch him?
Ketchum? I see what you did there.
I did it.
Catch him, kill him. So there's
Sorry.
no, it's good. We're middle aged. This is okay for us. Kids, you're gonna get this one day,
This will all be funny later.
and you're gonna be like, "Dang, those paranormal guys were right."
They were funny.
So
They were really funny.
oh, jeez. Yeah, and you also know the struggles if you ever start podcasting. But I want to say some of the unofficial rumors were that he was doing black magic in the basement, but he would like kidnap people and chain them up in the basement.
But they didn't have he didn't get arrested for
No.
for something like this.
Let me find out when the house was built. That'll give us a good time frame. Oh, look, my Amazon package shipped.
That's always good. It's like mini Christmas.
The house built. So the Amityville house was built in 1927. So that's
Oh, okay.
that's
pretty
about
old.
right. Yeah.
About the same age as your house.
Yeah. So no, mine's 40s.
Oh, yours 40s?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought yours was 20s.
Yeah. So in the 20s, people kind of minded their business then. To give you an
True, but-
idea, like
Gunshots.
Ed Gein was the 20s.
Okay.
And dude, I mean, he didn't really kill anybody except one woman towards the end, but he was grave robbing and making people's faces into lampshades, and everybody just minded their own
that's
business.
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I would love to cover Ed Gein one day. Very graphic photos available. Very graphic photos.
Of his lampshades?
He reupholstered every piece of
Really?
furniture in his house with human skin.
No.
Yes.
And there's pictures of it?
Yeah.
Not like National Enquirer pictures, but the actual pictures?
Yeah.
Dude. Wow.
Yeah. Nightmare fuel. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
the character for Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs
Hmm.
was written with the train of thought of Ed Gein,
Okay.
because
Okay.
Buffalo
That makes
Bill was
sense.
making the woman's skin suit.
Yeah. The person suit.
Yeah, and Ed Gein was doing that. He had a perversion where he wanted to be a woman, so he was cutting up women, making a woman's suit.
Wow.
But he only killed one person, but he was like grave robbing and cutting up corpses and taking their skin.
Dang.
And he married.
Yeah. The people couch just really
Yeah,
sets my
a whole
imagination on fire.
couch, a chair,
Yeah.
lampshades, books, masks,
Yeah.
bodysuits.
That really. Yeah. That's a lot.
Ed Gein was something else. Also the template for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Leatherface.
Right. Yeah.
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 Ed Gein.
Dang.
So that was the DeFeo murders.
Okay.
This was the original from 1974. So later, just over a year after the murders, in December of 1975, George and Kathy Lutz purchased the house for the surprisingly low price of $80,000. To be clear, this house was like 6-7 bedrooms, like 4-car garage on a pond, had a dock against the lake, really nice upstate New
So
York.
it was like a.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I got you. I understand.
You know what? Let me look up this address. I want to see what the property looks like. I'm just curious now.
It's a nice looking house. It's a colonial style
Yeah, I've seen
white house. Red brick and white.
112.
I think it's red brick and white paneling, but it's that colonial
Ocean Avenue. It's the first one.
colonial revival thing.
It's 21 miles away from here, by the way.
Oh. Right next door.
It is blurred out on Google Maps.
What? Not even Street View?
The street view's blurred out. Hold on. Let me go satellite.
What? The whole house is?
Yeah.
How'd they get Google to do that?
It's doable. You could submit a request. It's not difficult.
Really?
I've done it.
Huh. Really?
I did it for the house in Arkansas. Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do that.
So this is the house.
Yeah.
It stretches all the way back to the water.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, as I remember, it's kind of a long, skinny house.
yeah. It
Yeah, with like an outer house
Yes.
around a pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the house itself is along the street, but behind it, they're counting it as a separate house is actually the boathouse.
Mm-hmm.
And oh geez, they're like on the water in New York. Geez, that is high dollar property. Wow, yeah, they're right in there. Good property.
Yeah, I wish Paul weren't busy. He has the he could probably pull it up on the MLS.
Yeah.
Or he'd pull it up on Zillow and see what it sold for the last time it sold.
I mean,
you could probably pull it up on Zillow.
Yeah, let's see.
It probably won't go back super far, but you'll be able to see the last time it sold.
Ocean Avenue. Amityville, New York. Oh. It's blocked.
No way.
Yeah, wow. Wow.
So I guess the people living there currently
Probably had like records pulled or something.
probably it sounds like they submitted everywhere to get it erased because of the history.
To give you an idea,
They're just trying to live there.
114. So this should be 2 houses down,
Mm-hmm.
$2,268,000.
Okay. So yeah. So very expensive place.
Yeah. Wait,
I am kind of curious though, the 80,000 that the second family bought it for. I'm curious what it should have gone for. I mean, we can't really be hard to check that, but I'm curious what it should have gone for, since it says for the low price, for the surprisingly low price.
So here's 116 is 699,000. So it almost seems like the closer you get to the house, the property value is going down. Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if they bought it for kind of cheap.
Weird. Super weird.
I'd buy it.
Heck yeah.
I mean, I don't have the money, but I'm saying I don't.
I could think of 5 or 6 people that would be
I ain't
interested
afraid
in
of
buying
no
it.
ghosts.
Yeah, that's right.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Possess me. I'll start building
We're
stuff.
MF and Ghostbusters around here. Yeah.
I'll start building stuff with that energy instead of hurting people.
Yeah.
I'll go dig a
Yeah.
hole. All right.
Put up a couple of Tesla coils to disrupt the energy.
Yeah, that's
we'd
right.
be on it.
Put a Faraday cage around your house. You'd probably be okay.
Yeah. Cut that receiver.
That's right. It's all about energy, electromagnetic energy.
Yes. Get some good grounding in there. Get a lot of EMF waves going on to sort of
Yeah,
stir it all up.
They bought that house for $80,000 in 1975.
Wow.
So that's the price I bought my house for, and I live in the hood. And my house is falling apart. Well, I mean, it's not falling apart. It's not a new build, but
Yeah, no, not from the 1940s. No.
you know,
No, we wouldn't call that a new build.
it's not bad. I don't mind it. It's got some issues, but I love this house. It's a good house. Apparently, it's got internet issues.
Apparently.
So, they bought it for $80,000 in 1975. They moved in with their 3 children, eager to start fresh. However, their dream home soon became a nightmare.
A nightmare.
See, this has been, I would use that lightning or the thunder strike sound effect. Jeez.
Nightmare. Lightning strike.
Lightning strike. Yeah, like there's a part of me that wants to be like, all right, hold on, let me just reroute everything.
No, don't.
Yeah, I'm not messing with it.
Yeah, it's too late for all that.
And so, according to the Lutz family, their time in the house was plagued by disturbing supernatural occurrences. They claimed to hear strange noises, feel cold spots, and witnessed objects moving on their own. One of the most famous accounts involved George Lutz waking up at 3:15 a.m. every morning, the exact time of the DeFeo murders. So this is we're tying into the 2005 Ryan Reynolds movie.
Right.
So
where he starts to be the dad's influenced by the house.
right. So this was a thing in
Right.
that movie. He woke up at 3:15 every morning.
Okay.
One of the most famous accounts, waking up at 3:15 a.m., the exact time of the DeFeo murders, Kathy reported experienced ghostly touches and even saw her face transformed in a mirror. The children were allegedly tormented.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. Yeah,
I've watched my face transform in a mirror.
let me get a few more of these in. My face is going to transform into something handsome.
For those of you out there that know what I'm talking about, stay away from the bathroom. You'll get stuck.
Yeah, the rate I'm going, I'm going to look like George Clooney in about 2 hours. What was that?
Turned into Roger Rabbit. Yeah, you get a little bit of the sway going on because the mirror's swaying, and then you start to sort of keep up with. Yeah. I think my face melted off. I think I left it in the bathroom.
Huh.
Well, you should go get it.
Is my face?
No, I can't go back.
Is my face attached?
I can't
right
go
now?
back in there. Yeah, is this still? I feel like
Is this muscle and fat, or is this skin? I can't tell. So the children were allegedly tormented by unseen forces, and the family's priest, who claimed to bless the house, or who came to bless the house, was supposedly driven away by a disembodied voice telling him to, quote, get out.
Seems like good advice.
Yeah,
If you hear it,
yeah. So this was another
maybe
thing.
you should.
I keep coming back to the 2005 movie because, mostly because this is the one that I've seen, and I feel like it's the most closely tied to the history of the house.
Rather than fanciful writing.
There was the reports of the disembodied voice yelling to get out. I had read a report from the priest, an interview with the priest that said that the voice was so booming it shook the pictures hanging on the walls.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, we've all heard audio. I mean, between me and you, we've been to enough live show to know how loud audio
yes.
needs to be to shake something hanging on a wall.
Yes. Loud enough for me to wear professional earplugs.
Yes. If
Just so I can hear what the sound is.
yeah, if you're my wife and you know how loud I listen to my music before we record the podcast, I got a vibe before I get into it.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'd be listening good. I got a nice speaker in front of me and a nice subwoofer underneath my desk. Jeez. My life is a mess. So perhaps the most chilling tale involved a mysterious red-eyed, pig-like creature that the youngest daughter, Missy, befriended and called Jody.
Ooh.
This was
Creep vibes.
not in any of the movies that I know of.
Yeah.
I could only imagine a red-eyed pig-like creature called Jody. Was that
It's not what I would name it.
okay? So Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John Matthew were the kids. So who's Jody?
The demon.
I guess. Interesting.
Hammy McHorrorface. A better name.
Hammy
Jody.
McCheesesteak if he comes to my house. I'm going to eat that pig.
You look tasty. I like pork.
I do like pork.
You make some demon bacon.
Would it
I'd
taste
be
any better?
demon bacon. A little spicy.
It's got a little spice to it, a little kick. Put some tapatio on this. Feels a little spicy. It's the
extra
demon
greasy,
bacon.
a little spicy. It's a demon bacon, man.
It's a demon bacon. It's got a little kick. What do you mean it's got a kick? Taste it. You'll see.
Well, it tastes like evil.
It's crunchy, but I taste a tint of demon. Demon?
Is that hatred?
Is that hatred?
Is that hatred? Is that hatred I'm tasting?
All right. So the Lutzes also claim to see green slime oozing from the walls, doors slamming shut on their own, and shadowy figures lurking in the hallways. The disturbances grew so intense that the family fled the house in terror after 28 days of living in the home.
So I remember there was also some trying to, like in some of the investigations, they tried to, blame it on, gas leaks.
Yeah.
It's like the hallucination on like gas leaks and things like that. But I'm going to be really honest. Gas, while it will make you very sick, I don't think that they could pinpoint a type of naturally occurring gas in the ground
Right.
that would cause that sort of hallucination. The only thing that might could is hypoxia, right? Lack of oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
But for there to be enough gas in the house to be a lack of oxygen, anytime you lit the stove, the house would explode.
Yeah. So this was the 70s, so they didn't have, probably not electric stoves, probably a gas stove.
Probably gas. Yeah, same with the water heater, probably the furnace. A lot of things would have been gas. So they would have had gas in the house. But again, my issue with that is for there to be little enough oxygen in there because it's being pushed out by gas, for you to be hypoxic, I think it would explode.
Yeah.
Or at least have a fireball, rip through the house if it didn't actually compression the house outward.
Absolutely.
So, so I don't know if those are relevant explanations, but I know people have tried to blame it on all kinds of things. And then no one else experienced the hallucinations, as far as I know, other than the family and the priest.
Yeah.
And the priest wasn't in there long enough to become hypoxic,
right,
and experience. Plus, booming voices is not the kind of hallucinations you're going to get from hypoxia.
Right.
Auditory hallucinations is not on the list.
Yeah, it's visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mind goes to the hallucinations that people see when they're climbing Everest.
Right. Yeah. It's like mirage-like
colors.
Mirage-like. Colors and like waviness and stuff from starving the brain, but it's not. Entities and ooze on the walls. Those are pretty vivid.
Yeah.
Descriptions.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Versus hypoxic hallucinations.
What it is your brain is deprived of oxygen, so it's running on. Say your brain is a 6-cylinder engine. You're down to running on one cylinder, and we know that the brain will try to fill in the blanks the best it can. So it's going to take what input what it has and run with it, and stuff comes out crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but I don't know if this quite fits that.
No, I don't think so either. But 28 days, can you imagine? 3.5 weeks
of this? No, that'd be
3.5 weeks of staying in one spot and it being so bad that you just decide to leave. And here's the kicker.
Yeah, I mean,
they left without packing anything. They left everything in the house.
Really?
They got in the car and split. And
Jeez.
they never
I
went back to that house.
I can't think of. I mean, I've also never had a house that I thought was, exceptionally haunted. We hear stuff in our current house, and the guy who built it did die in the house.
Yeah.
Of old age.
Yeah.
And he built the house. He was an architect. He built that house and a bunch of the houses in the area that we're in. He was like a contemporary of Faye Jones, right? Who did all kinds of crazy construction around here. But he died in that house, and I have heard. We've heard footsteps, and we've heard voices, and we've heard things sound like something fell.
Yeah.
Like a heavy thing.
Yeah.
And can't find anything that fell. I mean, it doesn't mean I didn't miss something, but enough stuff in the first 3 years.
Yeah.
For sure. That Paul was like, I kind of feel like it's a thing, but it never felt malevolent.
Interesting.
And I never could get it on recording, but yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but but that's the closest, but it was at night, or it was always in another room, right?
Yeah.
And the dog would be next to us, right? So it's not like, it could be the dog. And there's no attic in the place. The ceilings go up with the roof, and then it's drywalled.
Yeah.
So it's not like squirrels in the attic or that sort of thing. And we'll be upstairs and we'll hear it downstairs, right? Like it doesn't. It's wherever we're not. It's not like we're downstairs and it's always something upstairs.
Yeah.
And it's in the last 2 years, I haven't heard anything. But another strange thing, when we first got Gus, the first thing he started guarding me from were things that were invisible. So if I was in the upstairs living room is a big square, right? And then the stairs come up this side, and then you have a bathroom at the top of the stairs, and then you have the kitchen, and then the main living room is over here, right? And I would be coming out of the kitchen, and he would run up in front of me, put his paws out, and just start snarling at the other half of the living room.
Ooh.
I'm home by myself.
Yeah.
He'd just start snarling, like puppy yaps. He was like 8 weeks, 9 weeks old.
Yeah.
A little thing, this big. And then also he would sometimes he would it seemed like wherever I was in the living room, he would turn and guard against the other side of the living room in an empty house.
Interesting.
No noises. And sometimes while I was eating on the couch, the like dining room comes off of it into a little alcove by itself where I used to broadcast from.
Yeah.
And he would come up to it and he would sit and he would start barking at that room when I was eating on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
Like it happened probably 8 or 10 times.
Weird.
All the way up until he was like 3-4 months old, and then it stopped.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
It's really
weirdness, but never felt malevolent.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the guy designed the house. I could, surely, especially since he died there, maybe just keeping tabs on his creation. Sure. I could see that.
Yeah. And it is the the family, his family still lives in the main house. So like, to call this house a guest house, I mean it's like 3,000 square feet, but it is the guest house of the like 6,000 square foot house that shares a driveway with us, right? And they're connected by like 7 garages, right? 4 on one side, 3 on the other. Between the two, that connect between the two houses. So his family, his daughter and her husband still live in the other house, and they still own the house that we're in. So, in the realm of things that spirits do, it would be not crazy,
right,
for him to be wanting to stick around.
I wonder, how often do you talk to them?
The family? I see him weekly. I mean, we know him real well. We have dinner with him and things like that.
I'm going to give you a piece of homework.
Okay.
Next time you talk to him, if you can, bring it up. See if they've heard anything weird.
Okay.
And see if see if they'll let you record the conversation. I would love to hear it.
Okay. Yeah. I'll see if he's into it. I'll see if the husband, I guess it would be the ghost's son-in-law.
Yeah.
Is into it.
Yeah, it's feel it out, see if it's cool, and if it is, record the conversation. It'd be worth.
Okay, because
it'd be a great conversation piece for sure.
Yeah, because it's I hadn't actually thought about that until you mentioned like 28 days of haunting. I was like, well, I mean, I've never experienced a haunting that was like goo coming down the walls and like, red-eyed creatures, and shadowy figures in the house. I've never seen that. I think Paul said he came around a corner and swore he saw somebody. We have a mirror in the main entryway.
Yeah.
And I think he said he either came in the front door or came around the corner from the bedroom and would have sworn he saw something. And I think I thought I saw something. You know that video in the sewer of the things poking their head
doing
around the corner where you can't quite see it, but you see
see it, but you don't see it.
So quicker than that. Right. So I thought I turned a corner once. I thought I came out of the bedroom and turned the corner and was going to the stairs, right? And the hallway to the other bedrooms is, you go in down the entryway and into the other hallway. I could have sworn on this corner that I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I turned and it's like, by the time I look, it's, it's almost like it disappears as I look.
Yeah.
But I've also had stuff happen like that, and I know there's nothing there.
I mean,
I have had that happen in Walmart, so I wouldn't put any stock in my experience, but Paul, on the other hand, is sensitive. So probably.
That's what we were talking about before the bathroom break. Sensitives. Yeah.
Yes, sensitive.
Yeah. So that's what I was getting at was, so I did, after we were living together back when I got my first apartment in Van Buren, I clicked up with a group of, I hate to use the word ghost hunters. It's not a great word. It's not glamorous, but they would, so the town I lived in was a historic town. Like, it's so historic that they filmed a couple Westerns on Main Street, and gonna say wild because they closed off Main Street for like 3 months and you couldn't go on it, but they filled the entire concrete part of Main Street with dirt and sand to make it look like an old Western. Yeah, it's that.
I was going to ask you about that. I was like, that is a wide section of blacktop there.
Yeah,
But that makes sense. They filled it with dirt.
Yeah, they filled it with dirt and sand and filmed like a Western on Main Street. It was cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was cool with it. It was, but a lot of the buildings were built in the 1700s, 1800s.
Yeah, yeah, you can tell.
And
you can tell.
So the group I was with, we would go around to some of the older buildings. So there's like an old Masonic lodge. Like in the architecture, you could see the Masonic symbols. And
yeah, you usually can.
Supposedly that place is so haunted that nobody, it's a completely vacant building, but they don't want to tear it down because it's historic. But they won't let anybody in there. We tried going in there a bunch of times. We went into an old building that was a brothel. Back when
you told me about that one. We talked about that on the show.
Yeah, back when it was a Western town. And we were there.
You ripped some of your stuff of the orbs.
Yeah, that was the orb building.
And had it on the show.
Yeah. And so we were upstairs. So downstairs was like a leather. The guy that was running the place did leather work. But upstairs,
they said the girl's name on the tape.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's right.
We were doing.
Yeah, and she was like, "No, it's okay. They just like me."
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So for those that haven't gone back and listened, we were doing an EVP session, and we were using a spirit box. And the spirit box, what it does is it randomly generates radio signals. And the idea is, they play the software plays the audio backward. So the concept is, if there's something intelligent, it could take the string of reversed audio and create a coherent sentence out of the reversed audio. But it's like a fraction of a second, and every fraction of a second, it's skipping to a different channel. And we were upstairs from this leather place, and upstairs it was all burnt out. They have remodeled it a dozen times within the last 20 years. And every time, it keeps catching on fire. And so the room we were in was just studs, studs and a plywood floor. And we were running this EVP session with the spirit box. And we kept getting the name Sierra.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I had only met like 2 or 3 people on the crew of like 9 or 10. And there's like this little like 12, 13-year-old girl in the corner, and it kept saying Sierra, 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 and gobbledygook, random sounds, Sierra, Sierra, random sounds, Sierra, random sounds, Sierra. I was like, dang, I don't know who Sierra is, but they really like her. And the girl in the corner was like, that's me. My name's Sierra. They just like me.
Wow.
And I was like, what?
Wow.
No.
And that was the one too where you had the flashlight.
So we had a flashlight incident. So if you're listening to this podcast, you know what to expect when it comes to seeing paranormal investigations, especially for ghost hunting. So people what they'll do is they'll get a cheap flashlight, the ones that you got to tighten all the way to turn the flashlight on. They'll loosen it just to the point where it's like a micron between being on and off, and they'll set it down somewhere. Mm-hmm. Ask questions. Turn the light on if you're here. The light will turn on. If you're a man, turn the light off. If you're a woman, keep it on, and the light will do whatever it does. Mm-hmm. And we had instances where clear and coherent responses with the light turning on and off, and we had set it down on a stud in the wall, and I had, like a crappy Sony camcorder, and I'm standing, so the stud that it was on was next to a door jamb, and I was in the doorway looking at the front of the light, then to the back of the light, front of the light, then to the back of the light, while they're asking questions. And as they ask questions, the light turning on and off, because I'm the guy that wants to be really thorough.
Right.
There's nobody back here in this room messing with this light. And
right. No wires, no.
It was just wild. It was my flashlight. And that same night, we also got a green orb floating through the room when no lights were on. Geez, I wish I still had that video. I could probably reach out to the guy that ran the crew, but we kind of left on bad terms. But um, yeah, it was really strange, really powerful, like weird energy in that place. The history goes that there was like it was a brothel, and as a form of punishment, they would put the women that did bad things underneath the floor in the brothel downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly in like the 20s or 30s, when they remodeled the building, that they found like 3 or 4 skeletons under the floors. It was wild. It was
Dang.
Yeah, it was the craziest, some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen when it came to paranormal investigations. Wild, absolutely wild. Uh, I
It's never that good on TV.
No,
It's always bogus on TV.
yeah, it's like,
It's always terrible.
this is thermal imaging of, see that 4 pixels? It's there.
Yeah.
Now it's gone. 4 pixels. We're professionals.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's what funding will do.
Yeah, it was a good
Funding and zero, too much funding and zero expectations will get you.
it was a good group. I really enjoyed when I was with them, but I worked during the day, and then on the weekends they were like, "Oh, Friday night we got something, Saturday night we got something, Sunday night we got something," and then I have to go back to work Monday morning, and it was just too much. I couldn't keep up with it. I was like, "Y'all ain't paying me, so I ain't gonna stick with it."
If we were able and we had the funding, I've seen some stuff on some of these shows. There was one that was like a super remote tuberculosis clinic, like super remote up in the mountains. There's not even a paved road up to it anymore, but the building's still standing and a bunch of the equipment's still in it.
Yeah.
And something like 600 deaths
Yeah.
in the time that it was open or something like that. And tuberculosis is a pretty agonizing death when you still had to die from it.
Yeah.
And it's like, windows busted out, no electricity, all this. I had this vision in my head of us going and doing like a guerrilla camp kind of thing, like like have a camp outside and a camp inside. Sleep during the day outside.
Yeah.
And then have a broadcasting and filming set up with like 10 or 12 cameras on different floors that are known to have activity.
Yeah.
While we run it from a central hub with like a single light bulb on or something creepy like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder if we could do it for a week.
Oh yeah.
Stay in it at night, live at night
Yeah.
in the thing for a week and sleep outside during the day so we could maybe actually get some sleep.
Yeah.
And see what you come up with. Because that's the other problem. I think a lot of these things do it for like a night.
Yeah.
Right. And they have a whole crew and a bunch of people.
Yeah.
The whole production crew behind him with the dude with the boom mic, like all this stuff. And I'm like, I think that's why there's never anything good.
Yeah.
You need like a guy or 2 guys.
Yeah.
So you can verify a bunch of live cameras everywhere, not just the one room that they do it in, and be there for like a week or 2 weeks and see what comes up.
Yeah.
Once you become a part of the place,
Yeah.
see what comes up when you're not like a brand new intrusion, right? I always wondered if you could do that stuff differently. I thought that one place gave me the idea. I was like, but you could do that to a bunch of these abandoned places.
Yeah.
Because it's completely abandoned. There's not even I think the whole area has been turned into a state park, but nobody takes care of the place. I mean, it's falling apart.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Geez, I don't even know where we left off.
Dude was waking up.
This
3 in the morning.
Yeah, 28 days they left.
Yes, that's it.
So we do have a little more detailed account of the hauntings. The supposed hauntings at 112 Ocean Avenue included the range of eerie and terrifying manifestations. The Lutz family reported hearing inexplicable whispers, disembodied footsteps, loud, untraceable bangs echoing through the house at night, phantom smells such as foul odors and decay, and sulfur would waft through the rooms without any indefinable source. Without an identifiable source. George Lutz often described feelings as if he was being physically controlled by an unseen entity, noting that his personality began to shift, making him more irritable and aggressive. He would frequently wake up in a cold sweat, feeling an overwhelming sense of dread. Kathy, meanwhile, claimed to have been physically levitated from her bed and thrown down by an invisible force. There were reports of doors and windows reportedly slamming shut on their own. Even when locked, claw-like scratches appeared on walls and mysterious black stains materialized on the toilets and sinks despite the constant cleaning efforts. The most terrifying visual phenomena included shadowy apparitions moving through the house, with glowing red eyes peering from the darkness. The staircase was described as an ominous location where cold, invisible hands would brush against unsuspecting victims. You ready? Here's the part about the dog. The family's dog, Harry, refused to go near certain areas of the house, growling and barking at unseen entities.
Mm-hmm.
George and Kathy also claimed to see ghostly figures in the night, with Kathy even believing she saw a demonic figure standing at the foot of their bed. One of the most terrifying incidences occurred when Kathy Lutz reported feeling an unseen force embracing her from behind, only to see an impression of an unseen figure on the bed. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Feeling an unseen force embracing her from behind, only to see an impression of an unseen figure on the bed beside her. Another disturbing claim was that the basement door blowing open violently on its own despite being securely locked. So, we are checking all of the demonic possession of a home boxes here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So one that we see most in Hollywood, because it's so bizarre, is the impression of something on the bed beside you or on top of you or at the foot of the
Or
bed.
under the covers.
Yeah.
And there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Butt impression at the foot of the bed.
Yeah. My mind goes immediately to
Impressions in the carpet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was that? The Possession of Emily Rose. The movie with
I never watched it.
the movie with
I know what
Jennifer
you're talking about.
Carpenter. Phenomenal actress, by the way. Jennifer Carpenter really pulled off the possession thing. Because she's really flexible, so she's able to do the full back bend and twist the arm
And
up.
crawl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So she was able to pull off the contortion stuff really well, and I hate to use the word gangly, but she's always been thin. Like you remember,
Yeah.
so Jennifer Carpenter was the one from Dexter's sister from Dexter.
Yeah.
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 So she was the Emily Rose from The Possession of Emily Rose.
Was that the one with all the little kids were dead in the house?
No,
Or the spirits of little kids?
She was at like a Catholic school, and she
and
became possessed.
There's a little Catholic boy, a little boy
No.
that looked blue.
No, that was something else.
Okay,
No.
I'm thinking of something else.
The Possession of Emily Rose, that she was supposedly, so this is a real case, which would be a great case for the podcast, that supposedly she became demonically possessed,
Mm-hmm.
and through like 30 or 40 attempts of an exorcism, it killed her.
Oh.
So like the family believed that fasting was the right way to go, and taking her off of her. There was a bunch of factors that played into it. So it could go either way. Like it could have been demonic possession, or it could have been something to have to do with she could have been psychotic, and they took her off her medication.
Right. And deprived her of water and food.
Right. And they thought, her fasting was the right way to go. In the end, she died. She was a real person. She actually died. And it was such a compelling case that it, inevitably it turned into a movie. But maybe here, maybe next month we'll cover Emily Rose. That would be a really good case. But yeah, phenomenal case. Same kind of thing as what the Lutzes were dealing with here. So let me see. The Lutzes experience, blah blah blah. Following their departure, the Lutz family sought the help of paranormal investigators, including Ed and Lorraine Warren, renowned demonologists who claimed the house was possessed by an evil force. Their involvement further fueled public interest and controversy. The Lutz's experience has left them deeply traumatized, and they struggled with financial and emotional difficulties in the years following their time at the Amityville house. So this brings us to the point where I was going to show you the video of Ed and Lorraine Warren, where they were interviewed in the 90s talking about the Amityville house. Let me see if I could find the picture. At least show you the picture. Jeez. Amityville house, demon images. Okay. So, this was cutting edge technology in the 90s. Ed and Lorraine Warren came through the Amityville house, and they were using infrared film.
Okay.
And so
infrared film.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've seen some. Damn it! I just my knee-jerk reaction is to pull up the desktop and look it up. What does infrared film capture? So, colored infrared film captures invisible infrared light from the red end of the spectrum, light that's not visible to the naked eye and characteristically turned green vegetation into a bright red. Shooting analog infrared used to be complicated and expensive, results in unpredictable and not making it worth the trouble. So, let me show you this picture. That is infrared film of a green landscape.
Okay. Okay.
So infrared is not on the visible spectrum by human eye.
Right.
So Ed and Lorraine Warren wanted to try something new. So they set up cameras throughout the Amityville house. And they would do... So the popular thing in the 90s was they would set up motion triggers or temperature triggers to where if something were to change in the environment, it would trigger the camera.
Right.
So, as we know, if anything, I hate to use this word, ghostly happens, it would trigger the camera to take a photo. So this is one of the only photos from Ed and Lorraine Warren of the first floor. It doesn't look like much.
No.
Let me zoom. You see the boy in the doorway?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. Huh. Yeah, I can see it. Dang. Them little peepers and his plaid shirt.
So,
Huh.
In the video, the interview with Ed and Lorraine Warren, they said that... So, let me back up a little bit. Ed Warren was the investigator. Lorraine Warren was the sensitive that could detect what's going on. So Lorraine, as soon as they walk in, Lorraine's like, this place is bad. Lots and lots of negative energy. So she walked around the entire house, got a feel for it, and she was like, there is something here. I don't know what it is, but it is evil incarnate. It is the most evil entity I've ever felt. So that was when they decided to set up the cameras. So they set up the cameras. They find this photo, And Ed Warren went on to say that, geez, let me see if I can. Geez, I want to pull up this video because he says it in such a way. Man, let me see if I can at least pull it up on my laptop now. Geez. Okay, let me add audio capture. Okay, so don't talk while I'm playing this audio because we're just gonna capture whatever goes in my headphones. Headphones Realtek. There we go. Audio output capture. Go.
Yes, with infrared film.
Oh, yes.
And it's
you
in
hear
the
that?
upstairs bedrooms, just to the left
No.
there.
Okay. Okay, well, we're going to... nuts. How do I do this? Give me a second. I'm gonna get it here just a second. I'm gonna share my screen. Screen 1. Go live.
You see what
Can you
looks
hear
like a
that?
small boy's face.
Oh wait, you've got to watch the video.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
This next picture that we're going
Can you hear that?
There you go. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, there you
I'm gonna
go.
play this audio. This should be capturing now. Here we go.
Okay.
to see.
I think
was
this is,
taken
this is
again-
an astonishing picture, in fact.
Yes, with infrared film.
Oh, yes.
And it's in the upstairs bedrooms. Just to the left there, you see what looks like a small boy's face looking out with bioluminescent eyes. This was the room of one of the young boys who was murdered there.
Isn't that
Now,
eerie?
a lot of people would say, well, is that the spirit of the young boy? No, it is not the spirit of the young boy, but it is a diabolical spirit with luminescent eyes that appears in that home to confuse the investigators.
But you think that is an evil spirit, Ed?
Positively. Everything about this house was evil. You know, a lot of people say, well, you know, I was in that house one time and nothing ever happened to me. It's not that a house is haunted 24 hours a day. You don't walk into a haunted house and see ghosts flitting all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
After 9 o'clock, the psychic hours start, 9 to 6 in the morning. 9 o'clock, the energy starts to build up because of the darkness. Then you start to get what we call the infestation in a house like Amityville. First you hear the little knockings, the rappings. Then you might hear pounding sounds. Then you might hear crying or sobbing, hysterical laughter. These are the types of things that actually happen in these homes. But pictures like this, taken with infrared film, the camera is neither for nor against the supernatural or
Right.
preternatural world.
Right.
It only takes what it sees. And what it sees here is a spirit of a diabolical nature in that room. This next picture that we're going
Okay. There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
He speaks pretty definitively
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, he knew his stuff, man.
Yeah, he's pretty certain.
There we go. Okay. So that was Ed and Lorraine Warren, like 97, I think it was. And let me make sure my audio is still capturing here. Yep, there we go. So that was Ed Warren talking about that photo from the Amityville house. So this is infrared film. This is something it wouldn't pick up. So if it was going to pick up a human, it wouldn't look human in infrared film.
Right.
But just the phenomenon of that little boy being captured and let me show you this picture one more time, because this goes back to what we talked
Yeah,
about
it's
with,
really good.
like, look at the
It's really
eyes.
good.
You could see that
Yeah, you can make out his face and everything.
it's.
A little plaid shirt.
I wish, the internet was working so I could show you the full photo here, but this goes back to what we talked about with the skunk ape. We had saw pictures of what we assumed was the skunk ape in the bush, and it had that reflective, the cornea was reflecting the light. Humans don't do that.
No, humans don't do that.
No, it's only animals, and it's only nocturnal creatures that do that. So there is no doubt in my mind from that photo that this was not human, that it was just something absolutely benevolent that was there. This is my singular piece of evidence, and I wish there was more. I really wish there was.
Well, I'm going to be honest. Even though Ed and Lorraine Warren were plagued later on with all kinds of things with people calling them frauds and stuff like that, I think a lot of that stemmed from their popularity.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it stems from people not wanting to believe that there's, evil entities or evil energy, right? Like no one wants to go to sleep at night believing that.
Right.
Most people, or that there's something that exists out there outside of their control, right? Because what do you do about a thing like this? And so I think a lot of their detractors had a lot more to do with people not wanting to believe. Not that you have to want to believe them. I mean, if you look at their careers, but I actually find them, them saying things like this, I find it to add more validity, not less.
Yeah.
For me, because I happen to think that they were very good at what they did and super forward thinking in their approach. Like even this, using infrared film in a time when it wasn't even, I didn't even know that was a thing. First of all, I didn't even know the infrared film. I mean, we have infrared, detectors, but I didn't know that they ever did it with film. So that's pretty. I think that's the way they tried to incorporate technology into trying to make this into a scientific investigation of this sort of thing says a lot about them as people and their integrity.
Yeah.
Because why go through the trouble and the expense of this stuff if you were just gonna make forged photos?
Yeah.
Right, like why spend the money? Why go through the expense? Why spend so much effort into making it as scientific as you could, given the subject? I find their testimonies to add more validity to stories rather than less.
Absolutely. All right, so I agree with you that it makes me wonder the cost of like developing and shooting infrared film in the 70s.
I imagine they had to do a lot of it on site. That sounds like pretty sensitive film given the trouble they're having. I would imagine it doesn't transport well. I bet I feel like they might have set up a darkroom on site to do the thing. Because think of film development in the 70s. Lots of people who shot a lot of film had their own darkroom, right, to develop it. And if you're talking about an experimental film, you're not going to take this down to, some place and get it developed. I bet they had a darkroom set up on site.
Oh, geez. The Polaroid SX70, which cost about $280, and each pack of film cost $16.90.
At the time?
When adjusted for inflation, the camera would cost about $1,353, and the film would cost $52 in the 70s.
Dang. Yeah, so that's, I guess that's not a astronomical investment, but
I couldn't do it.
I would say if you and I were going to go out and do an investigation, you said we had to have $1,000 camera, I'd be like,
we'll just use our
Are
phones.
you sure? Are you sure? That sounds like a lot.
Yeah,
I know this is all they did, but I'm saying that's they did more than that.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they had electronic triggers and stuff set up at the time, which I imagine was something they had to cobble together themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Much like that house in England that we covered.
Yeah.
Where they had RCA jacks and shit, stuff cobbled together from a electronics store, and the dude there was like, I think I can figure something out. I think I can make something, to make the trigger, because it wasn't a thing you could just buy.
Yeah, so this was triggered. I couldn't figure out a way to trigger a Polaroid camera with expensive film to take a photo if something changes in the environment today.
Right.
I mean, I probably could figure it out, but it wouldn't be glamorous or graceful.
Right. So you see what I'm saying? They put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about that particular photo, what it took to take that one photo.
Yeah.
But they did this with everything. They put a lot of thought into their investigations, and they didn't, stuff they didn't think there was anything to, they didn't publish. They covered a lot of stuff they didn't publish because they're like, there's nothing here. You guys are just freaked out, and you probably need to calm down. If they didn't find anything, they didn't. At least my impression has always been they covered a lot of stuff, and they only published the stuff they thought there was something to.
Right.
So, like I said, I think that they had integrity, and so I find them reporting in this sort of emphatic term. I find it to add validity to it. I find it to be great evidence, actually.
Sure. Yeah.
Myself.
So we get a little bit more, and then we'll get into our closing statements. So, let me grab my mouse here. Following their departure, they sought the help of Ed and Raid Warren. Some have speculated that George Lutz had an interest in the occult, and that his beliefs may have influenced their experiences. Others have suggested that the stress of moving family into a home with such a dark past played a role in their psychological state, possibly amplifying ordinary events into perceived supernatural encounters. Despite skepticism and accusations of a hoax, the Lutz family consistently stood by their story, even passing lie detector tests in an attempt to validate their claims. However, critics argue that the financial motives, including book and movie deals, may have played a role in their narratives. The Lutz family story became a basis for Jay Anson's 1977 book, The Amityville Horror, A True Story, which catapulted the tale into worldwide fame. This led to numerous films, which we've established at the beginning of the podcast. Numerous, to say the least.
Yes.
Documentaries and debates over the truth of their claims. Excuse me. Skeptics include investigative journalists and paranormal researchers have questioned the legitimacy of the Lutz's experiences. Some argue that the haunting was a hoax, pointed to inconsistencies of the Lutz's accounts and lack of physical evidence. Even William Weber, the attorney who initially represented Ronald DeFeo Jr., which was the guy that committed the murders, later claimed that he and the Lutzes fabricated the story over several bottles of wine to profit from the tragedy. Others believe that the house truly was haunted, pointing to the Lutzes' apparent distress and the bizarre phenomenon that seemed to follow them even after they left the house. Over the years, the house at 112 Ocean Avenue has changed owners multiple times, and its appearance has been altered to deter curious visitors. Despite the skepticism surrounding the haunting, the story remains one of the most famous paranormal cases in history. The Amityville Horror has cemented itself in popular culture, ensuring that the legacy of the house will never be forgotten. Whether one believes in ghosts or not, the Amityville Horror stands as a chilling reminder of a real-life tragedy and the power of fear to captivate the imagination. The question remains, was it truly haunted, or simply a tale spun from darkness? The answer, like the legend, may truly never be known. Thunderstrike. Thunderstrike. Insert sound here.
Insert sound.
I'm not going to edit it in post. I'm sorry. I don't have that much free time. But it comes down to, so we had a new rule. What was the new rule? So like our first rule was who's making money off of it. What was our new rule? I don't remember.
I don't even remember, man. I don't even remember.
So who's making money off of it? And there was something else. The listeners, if you listen and you were here probably 2 or 3 episodes ago, let us know what you think. There was a second rule there that we should start solidifying. Anyway, I've been debating on putting like a dry erase board back here.
Oh, I did too. I did too. I thought of the same thing, so I could be like, so we know, and then but if you look over, I thought about the same thing.
Yeah, it
get all Professor what's his name from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Boy, look, Laven.
Because I don't know. I just wanted to look at my cards. I used to be able to do that voice. I don't know what happened.
So I also think we ought to add true, bogus, or a real story, but we don't know whether or not it's something weird.
Right,
like a middle, like a.
With the boom.
Middle road.
The boom.
Yeah, middle road.
The boom.
Yeah. So do you want to hear what I think?
I do. I want to know what you think.
So we do have the fact that the family did profit from books and things like that afterwards.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well,
so yes.
It's a good story no matter how you cut it.
It is. But yes, you have the mom and dad did make money. Here's the thing, though. The kids did not. Like you said, the sister won't even do interviews.
Yeah.
And the kid only recently did them as a 40 or 50-year-old adult. And he seems traumatized.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's like, look, man, I didn't even want to do this, but you're the whatever 100th person that's asked. He's like, look, if you're going to be honest with me, I will be honest with you and tell you what my experience was. And essentially, he goes through it. He's like, there are evil things in this world. And one of the places they live is that house. Right? That's his take on it. And, he had been asked to do interviews his whole life and doesn't up until recently. And if you see the guy and you see the interview, he's not hurting for money.
Right.
He's got these 2 very expensive dope hot rods. Like, yeah, he built them, but dude, they would be very expensive.
Yeah.
Very, very, very expensive.
Very.
So he doesn't need the money, and I don't know what he's, I don't even know if he's getting, I assume he got some sort of pay for that, because I think he talked about it. He's like, look, people are going to say I got paid to do this thing, and they're going to say, I talked to you and told you a great story because you're paying me. He's like, I want to be clear. Keep the money if you want. I'm finally in a place where I can actually talk about it. Like, he seems very legitimate. So you can say, yeah, the parents made money, but I think you can discount that with the kid's story as an adult. So we'll call that canceled out. The son of the first family certainly didn't get paid to murder his family.
Yeah.
And I think even given the things that get reported from houses where just somebody dies, right, or 2 somebody's die of old age, given the stories that are reported from that pretty regularly, that's a pretty common ingredient soup for a haunting of some kind, mild or otherwise. Somebody died in the house, right? Died in a space of living or something like that. Well, here you have 6 people brutally murdered in the house. I find it very plausible that there's something awful going on in there after that. Also, the kid that did it, and then later adult, must have been full of all kinds of awful energy to do such a thing. Whether or not the guy who built the house was into the occult, I don't know. I never saw any good evidence, right, other than rumors that he was a weird guy and built the house there for a reason and all that stuff. All that stuff is fact that, he had to build it there and he built it there for some reason that was important to him. All the rest of it's kind of rumor and speculation. Ed and Lorraine Warren and their picture I find to be great evidence. And I think the number of times the house is sold, which I think whenever I saw a show about it was higher turnover than any of the other houses in the area, says a lot. And I think even people trying to obscure the house, you can say, oh, it's because it's popular for people to come look at. It might also be that they're just trying anything to change the house.
Yeah.
So that it's not, hoping to change the architecture, remodel the inside. Maybe they might be able to shuck off some of the bad energy.
Right.
Which I would be inclined to do if it were me and it was a house that I wanted to try to keep, but I was trying to do anything to change it. I find this to be. I think this is true. I think this is probably one of the better paranormal category stories we've done, and we've done others that we thought were plausible. And this one, I'm convinced. I'm convinced that there at least was something awful going on in there. I don't know, nobody's been in the house publicly in a long time, so I don't know now. I don't know how the people there feel about it. Obviously, they don't want anyone to ask them.
Right.
Given all the effort they've gone to obscure, the availability of and where it is and all that. So, but I think it's absolutely haunted, or was.
So you could tell I was doing something on my phone while we were talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got curious, and I was like, so what's another really famous murder house that we can look up to see if they block themselves on Google Maps? The Charles Manson murder house is not blurred out in Google Maps.
Oh, the one in the Hollywood Hills?
Yes.
Yeah. Sharon Tate's house.
I was able to pull up photos, Street View of that house. So that tells me that there's something strong and significant about the house in Amityville in New York that they don't want people to come around because, I don't know, maybe it's the evidence is strong. I'm going to say that.
Mm-hmm. They've gone to pretty far lengths getting it off Zillow. I mean,
yeah,
Zillow pulls info from the web.
Yeah.
Like they pull it from MLS and other stuff. Like they don't go around and shoot these photos. They just scrape the web.
Yeah.
And autofill a lot of this stuff from sites that you list your stuff on when you sell it. Like the MLS. Like when you get a realtor, your stuff goes on the MLS. That's where other realtors find it to show their clients their stuff. And the MLS is not a thing that you or I can get on without a license, but Zillow scrapes data from there and puts it on their site.
Right. And it tells me that there's something substantial